The brand was started 3 years ago. I was living in Barcelona where I did my MBA. And I was working there in e-commerce for a British company completely unrelated to design. And I teamed up with two designers that are graphic designers from Portugal, from Porto. While this is loading, I will give you some just images here. These two girls were doing their masters in graphic design in Barcelona, which is a hub for design. And they were really tired with working behind laptops and computers all the time, so they wanted to start working with their hands. So they go back to their native Porto, which is in the northern regions of Portugal. In that region, there's an abundance of textile mills that cut fabrics for some of the largest fashion houses in Europe, like Zara, DKNY, and whatnot. And years ago, the women in the villages in the north of Portugal would take the remnants of this fabric, which is these long strands you can see here that were leftovers. And the women in these villages would take them and make them into carpets and bags. And in the 90s, when globalization came in, all these jobs were outsourced to Asia. So these two girls, Inez and Joanna, who I wish we could show you because they're very fun people, but it's not loading. Upon their return back to Porto on vacation, they started going to these textile mills, getting this fabric, and just started playing around with it. And what they did was they created a very unique item, which we have named cleverly the scarfless, which is a scarf necklace piece here. And you can see they weave the material, which is cut by the machines. And they would literally just make batches of them and fly back to Barcelona on Ryanair, cheap flight, didn't want to pay for shipping, and wear 10 of them around their neck at a time, and bring them back to Barcelona to sell to their friends. Me, being the American business guy, saw an opportunity here and drew up some numbers, saw the effect from all their friends and whatnot, and did a little business plan and said, maybe if we can do this right, maybe we can make something out of this. So I wish the presentation was going because it's a lot more exciting than me or this website, but we'll just go through it. So I told them upon my return to the States, which was 3 years ago, that I'd do what I could to launch the product. Knowing nothing about fashion or anything like that, I went to the only person I knew who owned a boutique outside DC, went to her and said, what do you think? More exploratory, kind of like what we're talking about today. Is this going to work, whatnot? She said, I love it, it's great, I want to buy everything you have, and you have to talk to my friend at the Daily Candy. I said, what's that? I had no idea what Daily Candy was. So, long story short, we ended up getting a national feature on the Daily Candy, which blew us out. We had 14,000 hits in one day from 100 countries.
Can you repeat that, sorry? Daily Candy what?
The Daily Candy editor decided to do a lead feature. So Daily Candy is broken up into different markets, and she said to us we could do two options. One was for the DC market, which would give us a little bump in the DC region, or if we could have the company ready, she wanted to pitch it to the national Daily Candy, which would blast us out. So we basically built the company in 2 weeks. We had to website, we had to get the inventory, we had to do the photographs, write the skin of our teeth. Just got lucky, yeah. Well, she was obsessed with the brand because she had 2 kids, and I went to her house. They were upstairs sleeping. They were babies, and her first question was, "Can you wash it?" And I said, "Yes." And she said a lot of moms stop wearing necklaces and jewelry because kids pull them off. So that was her angle. So she went crazy for it. The kids were waking up, and she didn't care about them. She was obsessed with the product. So I knew we were kind of in. So I said, how long do we have? She said, I'll give you 2 weeks. So we built the company basically from scratch in 2 weeks, and it had this great effect. So since then, which was 3 years ago, we've expanded the line, and my goal is to really develop a brand, not just this, but to expand out. So now we do 2 collections per year. And of course, my presentation is not happy. We do 2 collections per year, so just to give you guys a feel of summer. We do about 75 items per collection, and now we've diversified into bracelets, handbags, shawls, and whatnot. So we've seen a real traction with the brand, that it's being accepted in a lot of markets. We have a two-pronged approach for selling. We sell online, obviously, and we do trade shows and wholesale, which is a big headache, but it's the best way of entering the market. So we do trade shows in Paris, London, New York, Chicago, and we have a showroom in LA. We've basically done all of this with our own time and bootstrapping it. We've taken no investment and pretty much been in profit since day one because we can keep the costs down. So what we've done now is we've gone back to Porto. We have our own production facility, our own production manager, and we rehired a lot of these women that lost their jobs. These old ladies that are really good with seamstresses or different types of skills. And just to show the connection with the brand, we had the women fill out a fun little questionnaire, like who would you date in Hollywood and what do you do on a Sunday and whatnot. And they filled out a little questionnaire, and on back of the tag on each product has the story of the worker. So we really want to connect that this is a real brand. We don't want to compete, and we can't compete with the big boys. We're not made by the thousands in Asia. It's a limited product. It's art. And we find a lot of women, even older women, wear their outfits around the accessory, as in vice versa. So it's like kind of paint your Saako, whatnot. So we really try to draw that connection that it's a living brand, it's empathetic, and that the four partners are deeply invested in it. So a little bit about the team. We're a goofy bunch. These are the two designers from Porto. This is Inês and Joanna. They, as I said, were very skilled in graphic design. Inês won a grant from the government of Portugal to work here in San Francisco with Dallin Duncan, which is one of the top graphic design firms in the world. They do work for Apple and whatnot, so very trained. Joanna as well has worked for Mucho, which is a top design firm in Barcelona. You can see the whole image of the brand is very clean, and we take big pride. I wish I had some product to show you, but we're very obsessed with detail, clean presentation, and we feel that selling online, as Owen's been stressing throughout the last few weeks, you know, that initial impression that you have online is huge, and you have to make it clean and good. So the fact that two of the four founders are graphic designers, we know that every part of the process is going to be perfect, as well as the packaging. Down here, you saw me. You already know about me. That's me. And then this is Anna Capel. She is basically me in Europe and in Asia. She handles our wholesale over there. And she also does all the art direction. So all the photography, all the styling and whatnot is done by her. So we're really, really lucky. We have a great team. Everyone really complements each other. I call my job herding kittens, basically, because I'm working, sorry, ladies, but with some Latin women here, and it gets a little dicey. So I keep everybody in line, and we all know our roles. And so far, so good. So today, we've sold now in 20 countries, in 200 stores. As you can see here on the main page, it's kind of blocked, but we just got picked up by the MoMA in New York, and we're selling in Urban Outfitters online as well. Our strength, though, really is mom and pop boutiques. We thought we'd be big in New York and LA. Ironically, we really took off in the Midwest of the US because we got a good rep, and the price point is pretty agreeable, just to show you a bit about that. We wanted to make it accessible, so our medium price point is $50 for the scarfless model, and then it ranges anywhere up from 50 to, this is the piece, show you the Urban Outfitters item. This is our most expensive piece, which is $150. This is a wrap shawl. A lot of our items are versatile. You can wear them many different ways. We really pride ourselves in that. And our target market's been surprising. It's not the 18 to 24 hipster young girl. It's actually a little bit more sophisticated client, people who have that kind of money to spend on it, looking to connect with their youth, looking to travel. What's nice about this is that you can put one of these in your suitcase, go to a business meeting, and know you'll look unique and different, you know, and not have to take up too much weight or whatnot. So our challenges are, basically we're looking for scaling investment. We've got all the foundations laid. We've developed a back-end system through Magento, which I was very adamant about. Should load here in a second. And the idea was to make the company as streamlined as possible, because as we grew, we got more and more sales reps. We deal with about half a dozen sales reps around the world and showrooms. So a big problem for us was inventory management, because we're dealing with a limited item. So we had to make sure that everyone was up to date on information. So we invested in a wholesale management system where you can sign in, you can see what's available immediately, you can see the wholesale pricing. We don't get bogged down by things like that. So we've got that foundation laid, we've got the trade show network laid, we've got social media, we've got all in-house prototypes, we do all of our own designs. We're starting to outsource some products now to Madrid and sarongs and things like that for next summer. We've invested in technology, we have the production, we have the art direction. So we've really got a lot of the hard stuff done with. And now we're just looking for investment to scale it out. So in particular, one of our problems is marketing. Trade shows cost anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 per show. And it's a big hit for us, and it's a big risk, because we need to buy all the material and take all the images a year ahead. So we just did a trade show in Paris in July. We had to buy everything for next summer, all the images, and we won't see a return on that until April. And for a small company, it's risky for us. That's another discussion, and I think I would welcome with Owen in the future, is the debate between trade shows and online selling in the marketplace, because I don't think it's definitive, and the trade shows, I think, are suffering, in my opinion. There's this problem here happening, and for emerging brands like us, we don't really know where to go, because the trade shows have not always guaranteed to be successful, but it's an industry where you need to touch and feel things. So how do you complement that? And they talked about that. Great examples of that are Beta Brand and Bonobos. We would love to emulate both of them, how they do that. That's our goal. So we would need money for trade shows. We've done Accessories to Show and Who's Next in Paris. Accessories to Show in New York, we picked up 40 new stores in that show alone, so it was a really big success, but a lot of work. We were about to kill each other by the end of it. And it's just a big risk. So we really want to focus on online marketing, brand ambassadors, as I talked about before. We do relationships with Fab.com, ASOS, Touch of Modern, Threadflip. We're going to do something with them next week. Grommet. Those are really easy ways to branch out. But at the end of the day, we want people coming back to us. So we found a firm in LA that specializes in PR and marketing, but it's not cheap. You know, they're looking at $3,000 to $5,000 per month, but they had some great ideas. One would be to have a brand ambassador for us. So we thought about doing things for October, for example, for breast cancer, doing pink items, or we have a blogger for the New York Times that would be our sponsor and wear our products and have kind of a feel-good image, because it's women produced, women owned, it's a green product, it's made in Europe. So we think there's a real story that resonates, but we need to get that message out there. And it's been challenging because we're wearing a lot of hats. I'm literally juggling everything at once. So if we can get the marketing budget for that, it's great. As well as you all know, bloggers are very important. That's another thing that I would welcome, is more access to top bloggers. We did a symposium with Grazia magazine, which is kind of the Vogue of Italy, in Barcelona. They had a big event there. They had 10 mannequins set up. They invited the big fashion bloggers from Europe. They had all different types of accessories and apparel, and the bloggers could style their own products, and then they could award them and get things like that. For us to have access to bloggers is huge. And we think one advantage of our company is, I mean, I'm a guy, so this is how I think, but besides just keeping me out of the picture, is we have an attractive duo. Inez and Joanna, not only are talented, but they're authentic, they're Portuguese, they resonate the brand, they are Saako, and unlike a blogger who is usually representing other companies, we feel that they embody Saako. So our real attributes are authenticity. Barcelona, which we all have a passion for. If you've ever been there, you know it's a very cultured, artistic, oozing with style city. We all have a special kinship for it, and that Inez and Joanna really could be brand ambassadors with their own brand. So if we could get a marketing agency that could really hone that in, we feel, we would be unique in the marketplace because it is very competitive. And then the other final thing with investment would be product development. So we would want to bring in some proper fashion designers. We want to work in handbags, especially. We think that's the next market for us. Every woman probably owns 5 to 10 handbags. Use it every day. You put it on the table. And now that we have the brand developed enough, we think that buyers would trust us and say, oh, well, I bought a few scarves from them, so their handbags could be cool. We'd Saako the handbag a little bit with some fringe or some Barcelona touch and be able to attract a whole new market. Yep.
So I was thinking that, along with, hiring additional designers and things like that, and taking the brand back, why don't you have guest celebrity designers from your demographic, like notable women? I mean, you have a great story everybody can buy into or something like that, and they can do limited edition things.
We did a guest designer in Spain who put out a line for us, and we did custom tags and whatnot, but we were still quite small, so it's tricky to get them motivated to work with us, but it's something that would be great if they were willing to do it with us.
Is, I know that you got your core concept and things like that. I'm always thinking menswear.
Yep.
And accessories are my favorite thing. Menswear is heating up.
Yep.
Those two things combined, and if it's something unique enough that can work,
Yep.
they're always, the search is always on for something that's new for men.
Yep.
That will actually is wearable.
Sure.
Mass market appeal, something like that, that can become something kind of a staple.
Yep.
That's new. So this, this might be something you work with.
No, I think we have ideas on that. I mean, a timeless men's line, European, like Herschel, which I just bought one of their bags. I love that brand. Timeless European, clean. We could do that. Another thing is Saako home goods. Great example is Marimekko. Marimekko, I would love to replicate them. I don't know if you are all familiar with them, but they're from Finland, and they started their brand in the 60s on very kind of unique dress patterns. And from those patterns, they were able to expand into home goods, children's, men's, everything, basically just on that pattern and that feeling. And so I would love to replicate what they've done. Now they're clearing $90 million a year in revenue, and they have their own stores and whatnot. So that would be another thing. Another cool thing we want to do too with investment is have a Saako laboratory in Barcelona to really hone in the connection with the city. Barcelona is the most visited city now, 365 days a year in Europe. It's the top conference center in the world. And we would like to move our production to Barcelona with a retail store in it. So you could go into the store, you could have your Saako made, you could have it custom made, you could see the realness of it. Our designers would be there, and we could have events. And nothing would hone in that connection better than starting in Barcelona.
Surprisingly, retail is one of the few success stories in Spain, even.
Yeah. Everyone goes there to shop.
Everyone goes there to shop.
And it's hip, and it's funny, but Barcelona really hasn't been tapped into from a brand perspective. Miami, Paris, London, but Barcelona is gorgeous. I mean, people are beautiful, the city's great, and we feel we really have something there. So.
Did you go to IE?
No, I went to a Swiss school, a smaller one called European University.
Oh.
Yeah, ESA and IE, I know.
Is Desigual in Madrid?
It's Barcelona.
That's a Barcelona. That's one of the few brands that I
Yeah. Very loud and bright, and yeah.
But they have guide shops too.
What's that?
They do guide
Men's.
shops too, right?
Yeah.
Have you thought about getting maybe like an international celebrity to endorse your products? So someone maybe like Penelope Cruz, because she's both famous in Spain and
Yeah.
in the United States.
I mean, it would be great. It's just getting there, and a lot of times you're paying for access. We found, so.
I worked. This was a really long time ago. I worked for, I don't know if you know this company, Golden Blue.
Okay.
But it was handbags, and they were in Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom, and they went under. But in the beginning, they were doing very well, and they just started sending the stuff for free.
Right.
They literally would just ship the stuff to
Just send it out.
parties, and someone would wear it.
Hopefully wear
It
it.
would seem like, oh, I actually really like this.
Yep.
Like you said, maybe look at the tag and personalize
Yep.
it to Penelope or whoever.
Yep.
See if they can.
No, we've done a bit of that, and it's a good point. I mean, for example, I have a buddy who works with Levi, and he's a producer there, and I just gave him, I gave him a whole collection of stuff, and he was on this Levi photo shoot, which they just had in Embarcadero Station, which is this really cool thing. He was on that cross-country tour. And I gave him all this product and hoping that the stylist on the shoot would use it, and so I gave it all to her. And so we kind of plant seeds everywhere we can, and then something will pop up later on.
Was this for the station shoot?
Yeah, with the board, yeah. This is just a bit of our branding as well. This is the tags I was telling you about, just to give you an idea. It's very graphic, very clean. This is the workers' stories. We have our own packaging as well. Another challenge for us is merchandising and educating the client. It is not a belt or a dress or a shoe. You have to kind of educate people on it. We can make it look good on the web, but a problem is when we get it to the stores, the store owners are very proud and they say, oh, I know how to do it, but they end up putting it on a hook or on the table, and it doesn't do it justice, and then people don't get it. So we have this communication gap problem with educating clients. So we try to put in each box, my Saako, how to take care of your Saako, creating this relationship with your Saako. But educating people on it and that how to wear it is a big challenge. We want to do a video. A great example is Wendy's lookbook, that great blogger from San Francisco, I believe. She had this 50 ways to wear a scarf viral video that went bonkers. We would love to do something with that, with all of our products and how you can wear them and whatnot. But again, if we can get an investment and we can invest in a marketing company and invest a little bit in the production, as you said, invest in menswear, invest in materials, we're really pretty confident that it will blow out because we've done all the hard part and that it's been accepted in so many markets. I mean, one of our biggest markets is Kuwait and Malaysia and Japan, and it totally, and then the bracelets do well in Japan, and these sarongs do well in Turkey. So,
and you can ship these anywhere, which is why the e-commerce thing I like. That's why I love accessories business.
Yeah.
And you don't have the same return problem.
And the sizing, we don't have. I don't want to deal with any of that.
All of that goes away.
Yeah, we're doing accessories only. I have no desire to do that. And then on a local note, so I'm based here. If anyone you have any pull, we're trying to get into Runway at Twitter. I went and spoke with them last week, and I think to be. What's that? The incubator, yeah. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Twitter headquarters has an incubator floor, which you guys have had some events at, and we're trying to get some desk space there to be surrounded in this environment and whatnot. I think it'd be really healthy for the brand to access that. And finally, one of the Spanish partners is moving to New York next month to start building the brand there because we do know that New York is where it's at. I'm selfishly here because I like San Francisco, but really for the brand to grow, we need to have somebody in New York. So anyways, just to finalize our investment, we're looking for a minimum of $75K, ideally $500K, and we think in 5 years with $500K we could be clearing 7 to 8 million in revenue. Our margins are pretty good. For example, a scarfless costs us probably $8 to $10 to make, and we're selling them retail for $50. But you have to compensate for wholesale, which is $25, but we're still doing pretty well. And if we can expand that, then we can make even more revenue.
Aside from the human costs of doing this, if you had the right technology partners to really seamlessly do the back end and everything like that, would that be like a strategic advantage for you?
Well, we have the wholesale system set up. Yeah. So it's a CMS system.
So you think you got that nailed, your compelling technology?
We're good. We're good. Yeah. For example, ThreadFlip, which is, where's the bike guy? Did he leave? Sorry. ThreadFlip is great. ThreadFlip's the first example of these flash sites that I've seen where they can extract your products directly from your site. A big problem with Fab.com, Sneak Peek is having problems, Touch of Modern, is they are constantly adding new products every day. And it means that from a vendor point of view, I have to send in images and pricing, and they have to have people to do that. ThreadFlip can extract all the products from our website because we use the right system, Magento. And we can build on top of that. So.
Are you working with kind of the big stylists? Or, I mean, I would think, do you have a point person that's focused specifically on editorials for all the big magazines? Because
that's what the...
This is something that, I mean, you get in the right editorials. I think they love it because this is like, you can do so many things, and especially with accessories. And also on the major fashion shows,
yeah.
fashion weeks.
Right.
get in there, and then you can get on with their editorial systems.
Well, that's what this PR agency would do, and that's the money
Do
it's
you have
spent.
inventory here?
Yep.
Okay, I can help you with the bloggers, emerging designers, fashion socials, runways,
Cool. Yeah.
Are you on Joyous or Etsy by any chance?
We started with them, but
Etsy or Joyous?
Etsy,
Okay.
and
Joyous.
no, but we're a little reluctant. We're a little bit maybe confident that we don't want to dilute our brand too much. We want people coming to us, and we think Etsy is good for starting. But my goal and my MBA background, whatever, is brand. Products come and go. The value is the brand, and I think in the exit strategy scenario down the road, someone's going to buy us because the brand, the name, Barcelona, not because we're selling on Amazon or products like
Well,
that.
I think Joyous would be a really good space for you because
Mm.
they do the video, so they can
Right.
actually show how
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do
yeah.
it in multiple ways and talk about the
Yep.
kind of fine
That's a good
quality.
point. I've heard about them, and yeah, and if they don't mind doing the work, that's what's good.
I think if you just too connected, they would create
Just
the
send it
video
out.
for you.
Yeah.
And do you sell in Mexico?
We've sold to a couple stores down there. Yeah.
Sold?
So we've sold to wholesale stores. So, but not currently. I mean, there's a few stores. I think one in Mexico City that bought a big shipment from us, but not constantly.
In Brazil,
Brazil, we really want to get into.
I mean, that would be, I would think,
Brazil's a little tricky because we have a rep down there.
Yeah.
Really expensive trade shows. It's insane. And also, this material is found down there, and we're nervous that they're going to say, there's no way I'm going to pay X amount of money for this if I can find it in the market, kind of thing. But for the upper class, if we can get in the trade shows and the higher echelons,
they
then,
would just wear that and nothing else anyway.
well, I'd go down there for that, Yeah, exactly. So, I mean,
Material done in Brazil, could you just have the production site in Brazil? I mean, that would be something probably for the future, but.
yeah, I mean, for now, the material is interesting because it takes these huge machines, which are found in, a lot of places, but when it cuts the fabric, it makes it so it weaves upon itself. It doesn't fray. That's the trick. So people try to make these on themselves, and they cut the fabric, and it splits. You have to have really heavy machinery that makes it bind, almost like a tube. And then we take it, it's like bird's nests. We have to go to these factories. We buy it in hundreds of kilos. We have to unweave it. We wash it. We clean it. We reball it so we can work with it. And then we can start the prototypes. I have a whole wheel on that, the life cycle of a Saako, basically, and how much work is taken to actually get it around your neck, kind of thing. Here's a couple, just press things I've kind of talked about. We had a thing in Vogue as well, which was a big hit. Botica is a really good accessory site as well. And just see if anything else is of interest to you guys or stores. And then we have a video if it will play. So we're really trying to push social media. We did a video last summer, if it works. Again, drawing home this is shot outside of one of the partners' apartments. And we had this all done in-house. So this was last summer's collection. Headbands as well are really taking off. We're really pushing that, and we think we're on the curve for that as well. So I'll let it just kind of play. And I'm sorry the presentation didn't work, but if you guys have 500K and you want to own an accessory brand with some,
Have you talked to Enrico Beltramini?
I did.
You did.
Yeah, he was nervous because we're incorporated in 2 countries.
Okay.
And that's another thing it's kind of the chicken and egg where legally, the legal fees to incorporate it in one country, it's going to cost us a lot of money, but I can't get the investment until we have the legal fees sorted, and so it's
But
this.
that was his only stipulation, right?
He wanted to see faster growth from us.
Well, that's what they do.
Yeah, and again, I'm like, well, we could grow faster if we went to 10 trade shows. You can scale it out. So he was very kind though, and he gave me some really good feedback. He said menswear as well, but and I've met up with Donna and Berna from UB Mobile. We're doing apps with them,
Okay,
so it's been cool.
cool.
So if you guys make bags, are they gonna be pickpocket approved?
For Barcelona? Yeah, that's a good point. Exactly. I wish I could show you. It's on my laptop, but we have a new bag. It's pretty cool. It's reversible. It has fringe on it, and it has lots of zippers. So yeah, you need that. I've learned the hard way in Barcelona.
For the jewelry portion, are you staying primarily with textiles, or are you open to like actually having jewelry? Because I noticed I was in Barcelona in the summer, and I noticed a lot of them attaching stuff like brooches and
Yeah.
actual.
Yeah, we almost wanted to. We were talking about putting things on top of them, like teaming up with a guest designer and putting it on top, which would be cool. But we want to keep our roots with fabric and color for now, and also because we have access to this cheap material as opposed to outsourcing. Our next thing is going to be sarongs with custom prints and bags, and it'll be nice to outsource stuff for once, so we don't have to deal with all the headaches. So that's it. Any questions? Anyone else?
Very good.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thanks.